friends. I hope you're having an amazing day. I certainly am, and I really enjoy being here spending time with you. My name is Tawnie. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and welcome to today's edition of Tawnie Talks. Let's go ahead into the fishbowl of questions where I imagine questions that I've come across or I've been asked. Today's question is going to be, Dear Tawnie, how do I work on forgiving someone when I'm still angry with them? I don't want to be angry and bitter and hateful anymore. Please help. What a great question. And I'm sure a question that a lot of us can relate to. So what is forgiveness? Some people might think of forgiveness as completely just letting go of any resentfulness or anger or any not so nice feelings you have towards someone that has wronged you. And just being able to resume normal interactions, jumping right back into that friendship or that relationship and acting as if nothing ever happened. That is what some people might consider forgiveness. Other people might think of forgiveness as something that they need to do to release the anger and the bitterness, maybe even the rage within themselves. It doesn't mean that they're forgiving and forgetting. It just means that they're choosing to forgive that person, to let go of that anger and that hate. My take on forgiving someone, layered approach. So here's how I consider forgiveness and how I would apply to different circumstances. So what I truly believe about forgiving someone is that you're truly going to let go of that anger and that rage, that need for revenge in your heart towards this person. Practice maybe a view of empathy towards them. I'm not excusing anyone's behavior that has hurt you or caused harm to you, but maybe seeing if you can put yourself in their shoes and try to understand what might have led them to make the choices that they did that affected you that way. Also understanding that forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. And that is such an important point that I'm going to repeat it again. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean that you are excusing their behavior. It doesn't mean that you even need them to apologize to you or take ownership of their actions. And it certainly doesn't mean, in my opinion, that you go back to resuming a relationship with this person or even allowing this person back into your life to possibly hurt you again. So I want you to really hear that point, because a lot of people think, well, I need to forgive and allow this person back in my life. And sometimes that leads to a cycle of abuse where the person continues to hurt you and you continue to take it because you've been taught or told you have to forgive, you have to forgive. Now, I also want to bring up a point here, a good point, that you also want to pay attention to patterns of behavior in this situation, right? So, have they shown a pattern of hurting you? Has it been 3 to 4 times or so of them continuously hurting you? Now, some people would say once is enough, but again, it depends on the circumstance. If they said a offhand comment or maybe a snide remark that was hurtful, that's a lot different than someone stealing from you or betraying you or backstabbing you or gossiping about you or trying to ruin your reputation or even causing immediate harm to you and your loved ones, right? So there are different circumstances here, and I think different circumstances require different responses, right? So I would really consider the circumstance. Let's take the scenario for now. For instance, this person did something that was hurtful. She or he gossiped about you behind your back, tried to mischaracterize your reputation and hurt you. So if this has been a pattern of behavior, you might feel like there is a layer of competitiveness or jealousy between this person and you. Then I would truly consider stepping away from this friendship, possibly practicing forgiving them for their actions, trying to understand why they would behave that way. Maybe they were jealous of you. Maybe you had something that they wanted, or you got a job promotion they wanted. So you want to consider the source of why they would behave this way. And then factor that in when you decide whether or not you want to reconcile or not reconciled with this person. Either way, you can choose to forgive this person so that you don't wake up or go to sleep angry and bitter. They're not the first thought in your head when you wake up and the last thought in your head when you go to bed, and they're not going to rob you of your joy. That's a really important point that I want you to take from this is do not let anyone's actions rob you from the joy and the peace that you deserve and that you need. So, again, we're going to pay attention to patterns of behavior here. We're going to judge the circumstance in which they caused you harm. And then we're going to really consider, is this something that I want to continue to allow in my life? Or am I going to go ahead and walk away for my own peace of mind? And what might be helpful in this situation is trying to look forward to a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. If you did not have this person in your life, how would you feel? Would you feel more peaceful? Would you feel happier? Would you feel less stressed and worried? And that could also be a good way for you to kind of surmise if you want this person in your life or not. So again, forgiveness is not reconciliation. It's about letting go of the anger, the need for revenge, the bitterness in your heart. I often find that empathy skills work really well here when you're trying to put yourself in another person's shoes. Now, a lot of really malicious, nefarious behavior is inexcusable. And I'm certainly not making excuses for that. But trying to understand the reasons why someone might behave the way they do could be helpful in you working towards forgiving them. And really, it's a favor that you're doing for yourself. Does not mean reconciliation. And I am a strong believer in that, okay? So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I hope that it's applicable to you or someone that you know. I know that this is a tough subject for a lot of people to grapple with. Please consider clicking like or subscribe so that you can get notified of my next videos that I post. And in case no one's told you today, I want you to know how special, how unique, and how wonderful you are, and that there's no one like you in this whole wide world. And I hope you have a fantastic day.